The World Test Championship is just some months away, but guess what? Lords, the iconic venue for the big final, is already weeping. The final that's set to take place in the month of June has already been dealt a severe blow. Reports suggest that the MCC, the Marylebone Cricket Club, the club that owns Lords, are staring at a massive revenue loss of £4 million. That's right. And all of this only because India will not feature in the Grand World Test Championship final. It will be Australia taking on South Africa instead. So what's happened here? Because until the Border Gavaskar Trophy, India still had a clear path to the final. In fact, a few months earlier, they had routed Bangladesh and New Zealand was visiting. So a win in home series against New Zealand was always on the cards. But the fairy tale script took a nosedive. Post that win against Bangladesh, of course, which was a complete whitewash. That was the only time when things were looking good, because then India experienced a numbing whitewash against New Zealand, and that made the route to that World Test Championship absolutely tricky. They beat Australia in that first test that was captained by Jasprit Bumrah, and that gave fans hope, because here was an opportunity to make this happen again. But the story after that was dismal, resulting in a 3-1 loss, a draw that could have also gone India's way, and utter pandemonium in the Indian dressing room post this particular series. A pandemonium where tremors were felt all the way across over in UK London. India crashing out of a World Test Championship final, not making it to that final, has made all the buzz and interest for an India versus Australia or South Africa clash, however it could have panned out, vanish. Why, you may ask? After all, it is a final. It's a World Test Championship final. The last two times, both the venues, of course, that hosted the final, one was the Oval and then the Rose Bowl earlier, witnessed packed houses. The Oval, which saw India take on Australia at the WTC final in 2023, saw the 27,000 capacity stadium full, nearly full on most days of the test. The Rose Bowl hosted the final between India and New Zealand and allowed a section to be populated by fans, that being the pandemic year. So this final in 2025 was going to witness a full-blown packed house at the Mecca of cricket. The seating capacity of the Lords is 31,180, and then of course there's the ground right outside the stadium too, with the screens where people would flock to watch. So it would have ensured a carnival-like atmosphere had India made it, because of the sheer presence of Indians in the UK and London. As of 2021, Indians constitute little over 3% of UK population. That's over 1.8 million. And London has more than 7% of the Indian population, amounting to over 650,000 people. All, needless to say, fans of Indian cricket. So with India crashing out, so did the interest for ticket sales. An absolute slowdown, freeze down to match the temperatures still in the country. The MCC, which had earlier sold the tickets for the WTC final at a price range of £90 to £140, had to drastically scale it down by another 50 points lesser to avoid an empty stadium and much embarrassment. MCC members who had bought the tickets at the earlier price were given their refunds. That's what we hear. That's the impact of Indian cricket team's absence, and not even here, over in UK. Their presence in a mega event only adds to the sport, the charm, the finances, every other trappings that come with it. I'd like to draw your attention back to just some days ago when many voices, whether it was the players, the commentators, emerged calling India, the board and the ICC out for their bias. Fingers were being pointed and still continue to, like this.
To me, the ICC stands for the Indian Cricket Board. India dictates everything. At the Champions Trophy, India did not have to travel at all. How can a team not travel during a tournament? Something's got to give. India can't get everything. The ICC must say no to India at times.
Now, while I understand the anger and the rage, and it was unfortunate that a solid ICC tournament had to be split between two countries, I want to remind you that it isn't like multiple countries or two countries haven't hosted World Cups before. India and Sri Lanka in 2011, Australia and New Zealand in 2015. It's happened before, of course, by design. But this too happened because of certain geopolitical tensions that just cannot be resolved or solved overnight. And what could have possibly been an alternate solution? No India in the ICC Champions Trophy. That would have only meant massive losses in revenue, sponsorship, viewership, spectator attendance and more. Something that would have hurt the rest of the boards as well, the teams, the ICC, and let's face it, the sport at large. Now, while certain things are uncomfortable to fathom and definitely seem unfair, maybe it will be well to remind ourselves of every successful event only helping in the growth and the health of the sport eventually.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogon, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically in a month we have viewers up to 150 million, that's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on first post. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model, and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.